Did it.
Awesome. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the third day of the Goddess Immersion event. Today, we're going to focus on the Priestess program, and you got a little preview of the Enchantress, and today we are going to get a little preview of the Priestess program. So I am going to start off by introducing you to the goddesses that we work with in the priestess. Not only in the priestess program, but in the Red Tent Goddess Sisterhood. So,
Lisa,
yes.
I was wondering, just because Marlou had the slide for the soul work share, did we want to do that?
Oh, that's right.
That's right in?
Yes. Thank you. Thanks for reminding me. I forgot about that. Yes. So Marlou did give a soul work share from yesterday's session. And so let's go ahead and talk about this. What did you choose to finish or work in excellence? So if anybody went ahead and did this and has something they want to share and talk about, that would be awesome. Anybody have anything that you want to add to this? You don't have to, but in case you do, I'm opening it up. Okay, so I think we can go on to the next slide. All right, ladies, so let's talk a little bit about number one, the goddess, okay, and an introduction to the Red Tent goddesses that we use in the sisterhood. So I'm sure everyone on the call knows what a goddess is or what the divine feminine is, right? And we all have our own versions of what we consider to be the divine feminine. And some of us work with goddesses, some of us don't. But I think we can all agree that there is a divine feminine. That's the one thing that we can all agree on. We all have in common is that we see that the divine has a lot of facets, right? And there's male and there's female. And the energies of the goddess are very strong. Now, we have different goddesses that we work with in the program. And as the Goddess Sisterhood, when we do new moons and full moon gatherings, we work with goddesses. Now, these are some of the goddesses that we mainly work with in the sisterhood. Okay, so when we do ceremonies, when we open sacred space, when we do circles, initiations, any kind of ceremonies, these tend to be the goddesses that we call on the most, okay, which is Sekhmet, Pachamama, Nut, Isis, Lakshmi, Kali, Bast, Gaia, Ixchel, and Sophia. Okay. Do we also work with other goddesses? Yes. And we also have different moments throughout the year that we might focus on a specific goddess. Like, for example, in February, we will honor Bridget, who is the goddess most associated with the season of Imbolc. Okay. We might have different moments throughout the year that we're going to focus on love, and we're going to maybe do rituals for self-love or for romantic love, and then we'll call on Venus, or we'll call on Aphrodite, we'll call on Freya, and other goddesses in different cultures that have to do with love. And so sometimes we'll call on them and we'll honor them. And then during Samhain, a lot of times we'll call on Hecate, we'll call on Keriwen, and other goddesses that are associated to what we call what we call the dark part of the year, right? Which is Samhain, and then of course comes Yule, and we'll talk about the different seasons and the different times of the year that we focus on different goddesses. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to talk a little bit about these particular goddesses, which is the ones that we usually work with the most, just to give you a little broad insight on these goddesses. Okay, you can go to the next slide for me. Okay, so here we have Gaia. This is a picture of Gaia, and this is a picture of Pachamama. Now, I'm sure you've heard of Gaia. Gaia is one of those names that a lot of people throw around, right? And we say Gaia, you hear the word Gaia probably quite often, but you might not always hear Pachamama. That's not a goddess that a lot of people have heard of, but she is a personification of Gaia to many people. So she is the Incan from the Incas. She's the Inca version of Gaia. Okay, so who is Gaia? Well, Gaia is one of Greek mythology's primordial deities. She's the personification of the earth. She's the ancestral mother of all life. She brings abundance, luck, appreciation, insight, okay, the promise of nature. She is Mother Nature. When we say Mother Nature, we're talking about Gaia. Okay, she's the equivalent in the Roman pantheon of Terra. Okay, so if you hear the word Terra, that's also Gaia. And it's funny because you will hear the word Terra quite often. If you've heard of the word terraforming, there's even a school here in South Florida called Terra Academy. I mean, Terra is one of those words that gets thrown around a lot, just like Gaia. Okay. Now comes
Like
Pachamama. Okay.
ARA.
Terra. Yeah. So sometimes you'll see it as Tera, but it's the same. It's Terra or Terra. Like the pronunciation is usually supposed to be Terra, Terra. That is the correct. But a lot of people will say, like, you hear the word terraforming, or like I'm saying, there's a school called Terra. Like, it's one of those words that's used quite often, but it stems from Terra, the Latin or Roman version of Gaia, okay, which is another word for earth. And I'll talk about that in a minute. The Incan goddess of earth or Mother Earth, this is Pachamama. She's responsible for farming, for the harvest. She's revered as a healing goddess. But once again, she's the Gaia of the Incas. So this is an interesting concept that a lot of people are not aware of, but when you think of Gaia, she's not just a goddess, she is the actual Mother Nature. She is the earth. Okay. So this was an ancient belief, and a belief that we still hold on to this day, is that the earth, our planet, is sacred. Not only because, of course, we live in this planet and we care about the planet and we consider the planet to be sacred, but because it is a living entity. Okay, and that is where the concept of Gaia and Pachamama and Terra comes from. That we're not only talking about a goddess in the sense of a goddess out in the sky, a goddess out in the heavens, or a goddess out in the other world. We're talking about our earth, our actual planet, is a goddess, is a living being. It is alive. Okay, so that is a concept that is kind of radical, but at the same time, if you can understand where the early Greeks, the early Romans, and the Incas had that belief, you could understand why everything on this earth would be considered sacred. The animals are sacred, the plants are sacred, and all of us are sacred. Why? Because all of us together, along with the plants and the animals, make up Gaia. So Gaia is a goddess, but Gaia is everything around you. Gaia is the planet Earth itself and everyone in it. So that's our concept of Gaia, okay? And Pachamama, and of course, Terra. Okay, so I just wanted to point that out so you understand how in different cultures, they may call them different names, but the concept is the same. It's a mother goddess who is Mother Nature, and it is also the planet we live in. Okay, so we're all interconnected because of Gaia, because of Pachamama. A lot of times when we call sacred, when we're calling quarters or we're opening sacred space, we will connect to Gaia and Pachamama as what we call the north or the earth, the element of earth. But a lot of times they are also considered what we call the firmament, the underworld, what's below us. Why? Because once again, they are the earth. They are not only a goddess of the earth, they are the earth itself. So a lot of times when you ground yourself, you're grounding yourself into Gaia, if that makes sense. You're grounding yourself and being blessed by Panchamama as you are grounding yourself, as you are connecting to the earth. Okay, so I wanted to explain that so that you could understand that, where we bring that concept and how we use them in ceremony. Okay, you can go to the next slide for me, please. Okay, and now we have Bast and Sekhmet. So, as you can tell, we love the Egyptian goddesses. They are some of the most ancient goddesses, right? Some of the most ancient goddesses in history would be the Egyptian, as well as, of course, the Sumerian, the Babylonian. But the Egyptian gods and goddesses are pretty special to us here in the sisterhood, to the academy, and to most people that work with goddess energy. Okay, these two goddesses, which I'm going to point out now, are some of the ones we work with the most, which is the goddess Bast and the goddess Sekhmet. Now, notice that they're both feline goddesses, right? Bast used to be represented in the form of a tiger, okay, and now it's more, she's seen more like a cat, or more of a gentle cat or feline, the way that she is represented in more modern times. And then, of course, Sekhmet is the beautiful golden lion, the goddess, the lion goddess, right? So they both represent that beautiful feline energy. Okay, Sekhmet is depicted once again as a lioness in a red dress. She's a goddess of war, battle, and fire. So she's the element of fire as well. When we think of fire and we're thinking Egyptian, we're thinking Sekhmet. Her head usually incorporates a sun disk with a serpent. Sometimes she's holding a scepter. Sekhmet was a terrifying goddess. However, for her friends, she would avert plagues and cure diseases. So she's a healing goddess. It's one of those interesting conundrums where you hear stories and tales of Sekhmet being so angry that she is literally destroying humanity, but then she does a 360, realizes what's going on, and turns around and is now more of a healing goddess. She's now healing all of the plagues and diseases that we face. Okay, she was the patron of physicians and healers associated with diseases, healing, and medicine. The ancient Egyptians believed that Sekhmet had a cure for every problem. Okay, so she was the goddess to turn to for any kind of healing need. Now, Bast, or Bastet, as she is also known, was always depicted as a cat-headed woman. There are ancient depictions that did show her with a tiger, with the face of a tiger, but in modern times, she was seen more as a cat. She's a goddess of the home, of domesticity, celebration and joy, women's secrets. Also, of course, patron of cats, fertility and love, childbirth and motherhood. She's a goddess of, sometimes people call her the party goddess, right? The goddess of merriment and joy and everything that makes life worth living, right? Like, she is the goddess that depicts joy. When you want joy in your life, when you want to feel complete, and you want to have an infusion of joy and happiness, you connect to Bast. Bast is a great goddess to turn to for those feelings. When you want to feel one with all of your sisters, when you want to feel one with other women, and you want to enjoy that feeling of joy and happiness, once again, Bast is great to turn to. She's also a protectress. Okay, she will protect. She protects the home from evil spirits and diseases, once again, just like Sekhmet, especially diseases that are associated with women and children. Okay, so great goddess to turn to for any kind of ailment that you may have. Also a protectress of children. Okay, great goddess to work with when you have children. So that's a little bit about Bast and Sekhmet. You can go to the next slide for me. And now here we have another two beautiful Egyptian goddesses. We've got Nut. Now, Nut is not only the goddess of the sky, the Egyptians actually saw her as the sky. So this is another interesting concept similar to Gaia, not just a mother goddess or goddess of the earth, but the earth itself. So Nut was the sky itself, not just a goddess of the sky. She wears a dress decorated with stars. Her fingers and toes touch the four cardinal points of the earth, just like the sky. Like if you can think of a dome, you can think of the concept of a dome full of stars, that you're looking at Nut. She was the protectress of the souls of the dead until they were reborn in the afterlife. So when people would die, she was the one that protected the souls. Once they went into the afterlife and they started their new life in the afterlife, then that is when she would retire. But she was the one that protected the process of people passing to the other world. Okay, so she's a very special goddess. We invoke her a lot in ceremony when we're looking at the goddess above us. Okay, one of the things I wanted to point out, and I'm sure when I say open sacred space or calling the quarters, I'm sure most of you know what I'm talking about. If you've been in any kind of magical gathering or gatherings of working with gods and goddesses or any kind of pagan type of ritual or ceremony, you know that we invoke protection to make sure that whatever ceremony we do or magic that we invoke is contained, right? And is as free as possible of interference, and that we have protection for whatever it is that we are going to celebrate or do. So we call quarters, or we call the directions, we bring in the elements, and we make sure that we have a goddess that will protect every quarter, every aspect, and every element that we're bringing into the ceremony. So we do north, south, east, and west. And we have a goddess that we call in, a goddess that is connected to that element or that geographical point, right? And then, of course, we call in a goddess to stand above us, a goddess to stand below us, okay, so that we are protected from the underworld. And then usually we'll call a goddess to be part of our center. So in essence, we're doing not just a circle, we're doing a sphere, because we're calling in all the directions, below, above, and then north, south, east, and west, and the elements that correspond. So I just wanted to point that out. So when I say that Nut is the goddess that we call in the above, we're talking about a goddess that protects us from the above, right? So that would be where Nut would come in our ceremonies. We also have here Isis, and I'm pretty sure you're familiar with Isis. She's one of the most popular of the Egyptian goddesses. But a lot of people have seen Isis or seen depictions of Isis. She is known as the goddess of 1,000 names, okay? So she is known by 1,000 different names. She's a mother goddess and considered goddess of all creations. And you can see remnants of her in other cultures, okay? That's why they call her the goddess of 1,000 names. She's a goddess with wings, right? She's the winged goddess, Isis, major goddess of ancient Egyptian religion, whose worship spread throughout the Greco-Roman world. Isis was the daughter of the earth god Geb and the sky goddess Nut. So this is her daughter. Isis is Nut's daughter. Now, Isis, by the way, I just want to say, Isis is her Greek name, her Greco-Roman name, but her actual Egyptian name is Oset, and that's usually spelled A-U-S-E-T, Oset, or Oset. But her Greco-Roman name, or as she was known in Greece, Oset. Thank you, Claudia. Yeah, that is her actual Egyptian name, is Oset. But her Greco-Roman name is Isis, so she is known, she's more known as Isis than Oset by a lot of people, and that was due to the influence of the Greeks when they went to Egypt, especially the influence of the different Greeks that worshipped in Egypt. She's a fertility goddess, also known as a goddess of the earth. To her and her followers, okay, would worship her as a fertility goddess and a goddess, a mother goddess. She's also a goddess of magic and divination, goddess also of healing and protection. So we're looking at a very protective goddess, goddess of magic, divination, and a goddess that you turn to for any kind of fertility, meaning like not just fertility as of having children, but also giving birth to projects and ideas. Okay, very much a fertility goddess. You can go to the next slide for me. So now we touch upon another two very special goddesses from the Indian or Hindu pantheon, right? These are Hindu goddesses. And here we have a picture of Kali, and to the right, we have a picture of Lakshmi. Now, let's start with Kali. She's a goddess of enlightenment or liberation. She is revered as the goddess of time, creation, destruction, and power. In spite of her seemingly terrible form, she is also regarded by her devotees as the mother of the whole universe. Okay, she's seen as a great protector. She is fierce love and ecstasy. Okay, so Kali, very special goddess. We usually invoke her in the to protect us in the below, the underworld, right? That's one of her primordial spots, is protecting us from below. She is the goddess that helps us ground. Okay. A lot of times you will hear people refer to her as Ma, or the mother goddess. Okay. Mother Kali or Kali Ma. That's another word for Kali, is Kali Ma. Okay. She is considered one of the what we call the Trinity in Hinduism, which is usually Parvati, Kali, or Durga, okay, and Ma Lakshmi or Lakshmi, okay. And also, of course, I don't want to leave behind. I mean, there's so many beautiful Hindu goddesses, and once again, we connect to them in different times of the year, right? Different times we will bring them in, but I'm focusing on Kali and Lakshmi because those are the ones we tend to call on the most, and we have very strong relationship with. Let's talk a little bit about Lakshmi. So, who is Lakshmi? She is one of the principal goddesses in Hinduism. She's the goddess of wealth, fortune, power, and beauty. She's the goddess of prosperity, the wife of Vishnu. Okay. So if you're a little bit familiar with Hinduism, you know that there is what we call the Trinity in Hinduism for the male as well, which is Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Okay. Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the preserver, and Shiva is the destroyer. So it's the cycle of nature, of time, right? Something is born, something is preserved, something is destroyed, and then it's reborn again. So it's the cycle of birth and rebirth. Okay. And so the same for the women, for the female goddesses in Hinduism, it works kind of the same way. Lakshmi is similar to Vishnu, her consort or husband. She's more like the preserver. Why? Because she is the one that preserves our abundance, our prosperity. She's the one that helps give us fortune and wealth and love. Okay. She is the one we turn to when we want to be showered with good fortune, with love, with beauty. Okay. Usually we focus a lot on Lakshmi during the time of the year, which where we honor her in Diwali. Diwali is one of the holidays where we honor Lakshmi, we honor Kali, and all the beautiful Hindu goddesses. But Lakshmi takes kind of center stage a lot of times during Diwali. So does Kali, depending on what part of India. They're both focused on a lot during Diwali. And here in the sisterhood, we will honor them in certain moments of the year, but also throughout ceremonies as well. So I just want to point that out. Also, if you've heard of Ganesh, Lakshmi and Ganesh work hand in hand. Ganesh is the one that opens the road, removes the obstacles, right? He is the one that helps bring in the abundance. And then Lakshmi is the goddess that fully brings abundance in. She's the one that showers us with abundance, prosperity, and everything else. You can go to the next slide for me. Eggshell. Eggshell's a very interesting goddess. She is a goddess that we turn to a lot for womb healing. Okay, something that we're very big on here in the Red Tent Goddess Sisterhood is the concept of connecting to our wombs. We talk a lot about wombs. We talk a lot about cycling. We talk about our menstruation and the cycles, how we connect not only to our own cycles of menstruation, but connecting to the moon and the cycles of the moon and how they're connected. And Ixchel is one of those goddesses that we turn to help us with any kind of womb healing. She's also a goddess of love and beauty, okay? She's a fertility and reproduction goddess, blood mysteries, which, oh, I'm sorry, what culture is Ixchel? Ixchel is considered what we call Mesoamerican or Aztec. No, not Aztec. I'm sorry. Oh my God, I just blanked. Not Aztec. Mayan. Sorry. So sorry about that. Mayan. I had it like right in the tip of my tongue. I'm like, wait, not Aztec. Mayan. Mayan. She's a Mayan goddess. Goddess of Mesoamerica, very popular in Mexico, during the country of Mexico and areas surrounding Mexico, the whole Mayan civilization, Mayan culture. That is the culture she comes from. She's a goddess of blood mysteries and menses, womb wisdom, moon mysteries, regeneration and transformation. She's also a goddess of divination and prophecy, dream visions, intuitive abilities, intuitive power, weaving. She's a goddess of healing and medicine, medicinal plants, midwifery and birth, spiritual wisdom, motherhood. She is the goddess that we turn to for rain if we want rain to come, but we also turn to her when we want to avoid floods. She's a goddess of water, bodies of water, lakes, rivers, creeks, streams, and ocean. She is a goddess of empowerment for women. So if you want a goddess that you can turn to for empowerment, that would be Ixchel. She's also a goddess that is a protector of women and children. Okay, great goddess to turn to for protection and protection for victims of domestic violence. Okay, so very powerful goddess, very beautiful goddess, great goddess to turn to if you're doing any kind of plant ceremonies, medicine work, for healing of different kinds. Great goddess to connect to. Okay, and it's funny because in Mexico there is an island that has statues of Ixchel to this day. I believe it's Island of Women, I believe it's called. And it's a tourist attraction. Like people actually come and go to that island to see the many statues of Ixchel and what's left and preserved from the Mayan culture regarding Ixchel. So very special goddess. We will call on her a lot in the West, which is the element of water. So when we're calling in a goddess to protect us from the West, or we're bringing in the element of water, she's a goddess that we'll connect to. Isla de Mujeres. Thank you, Claudia. Yes, the island of women, right, off the coast of Mexico. So very special place and very connected to Ixchel. You can go to the next slide for me. Okay, and here we have Sophia. So Sophia, very interesting goddess. So Sophia is a Greek name for wisdom. Okay, it's the Greek word for wisdom is Sophia. She is considered the divine feminine. Another word for the primordial goddess, the goddess that embodies all goddesses. She's supposed to have that divine feminine energy within her. Okay, in different cultures she is called by different names. So she's known as the Shekhinah. If you've ever heard of in Greek I'm sorry, in I meant to say in Hebrew spirituality, in Kabbalah, they are referring to that divine feminine energy, that female aspect of God. That is the Shekhinah. Okay. And then in the Hindu culture, they call her Shakti. So when we say Shakti, the Shakti energy, we're talking about that divine feminine energy that runs through all of us. We are all connected to that divine feminine energy, and all goddesses contain an aspect of that energy, or what we call Shakti, right? Like Kali, Lakshmi, Parvati, Durga, all of them have Shakti. They're all Shakti. So it's all goddesses have that aspect within them. That's what we call the Shakti energy, or the Shekhinah. It's another word for Sophia. So Sophia embodies that. Okay, so she embodies that energy. She's the divine feminine energy. To the Greeks, she's the goddess of wisdom. To the Gnostic Christians, she's considered the goddess. So the Gnostics, which was a sect of early Christianity, okay, that was not patriarchal. They were a little bit more on the border of matriarchal. That was the energy, the early energy of the Gnostics, right? Very connected to cultures of that time, connected to the early Hebrews. This is during the time of Jesus. And right after, we have what we call the Gnostic Christians. So a lot of them did believe that there was a feminine aspect to God, right? And they did believe in a goddess, and they called her Sophia, or the Shekhinah. Like she's seen in both ways. She's seen by many as the aspect of God in female form. She's also known as Psyche, which means life. She is the feminine element of creation, denied in Western culture for 2,000 years, but honored in antiquity. And like I said, all goddesses are aspects of Sophia, according to Gnostic Christians. So this is where the term, when we say, we can say soft polytheist, okay, or hard polytheist, if you've ever heard those terms. So a hard polytheist believes that each goddess is independent of each other. Like there is no connection. Each goddess is her own self, her own entity, her own being. A soft polytheist believes that all goddesses are connected to that one goddess energy, that one divine feminine running through all of them, yet they are seen as different, yet the same. So that is the concept of what we call soft polytheist. Just to give you a little context of how goddesses are seen. I don't know if there's another slide after Sophia. I can't remember. Okay, no, now we're going to talk about popular priestess practices. Okay, can you stop sharing for just a minute before I go into that? Thank you. Thank you so much, Kim. So I just wanted to ask if anybody had any questions. Does anybody here work with any goddess, any of the ones I've mentioned, or maybe one I haven't mentioned? Anybody here have any experiences with any goddess?
The goddess that I connect with the most is Freya. She kind of, I was trying to connect with Isis when I first started on my path. She was the one that I wanted to connect with, but instead I kind of got smacked in the head by Freya, and she said, "You're mine." So I work with her mostly, but I do work with other ones.
Okay. So Freya is an awesome goddess. We do cover in the academy, we have in the Priestess Academy, we have a whole section on Norse goddesses. Okay. And we talk very much in depth about Freya. And we talk about Freya, we talk about Hel, and we talk about Frigg or Frigga, right? And other goddesses of the Norse pantheon. So the priestess program, the way that we approach goddesses is we do it through pantheons. So that way we study not just the goddess, but we study the culture, where she came from, the kind of people that connected to her, the kind of practices that are commonly known you know, so we don't only talk about Freya, but we talk about how to connect to Freya, and what are the gods and goddesses related to Freya, and how is the what we call the cosmology, or how did those early Norse people connect to Freya, like how did they see the world, right? We talk about the underworld, and we cover as much as possible so that we're not only covering the goddess, we're covering everything related to the goddess and practices to connect to her, right? And how to work with her. So Freya is a goddess. We tend to work with her a lot in winter. Okay. Like during the time of Yule, we'll do things with Freya. We'll connect to Freya. Sometimes in the sisterhood, we'll also, you know, we'll turn to her in one of our ceremonies. Like if we want to honor her during the new moon or the full moon, sometimes we will work with Freya. So she is a goddess we cover a lot, and she's a very powerful goddess. Actually, I work with her myself. I love Freya. And one of the things that I want to mention when it comes to working with goddesses, okay, it's really funny because the majority of the times we will, just like Jamie said, we'll say, oh, I want to work with Isis, or well, I want to connect to Venus, right? I want to work with Aphrodite, right? But guess what? Sometimes it's not about who you want to work with, but who is meant to work with you. And so, you know, and it's not, and I just want to mention, it's not a rejection, okay? Because it's easy to think, oh, the goddess rejected me. No, 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 no. It's not a rejection. It's just that sometimes there's something that one goddess can work with you on that would be best for you versus you working on the goddess you want to work with. So for example, and I'm going to highlight Freya and Aphrodite. I'm purposely going to choose those two because they're both love goddesses of love and passion, right? So Freya is not just a goddess of love and passion, but she is also a goddess related to the hunt, to love, to passion, to divination. She is a goddess that has a lot to do with prophecy, with dreams. Okay, if you are a person that you aspire to do divination, maybe you want to be a reader, maybe you want to do mediumship work, maybe you want to, you know, work with runes, or you want to work with tarot, or you want to work with a goddess that helps you in magic and helps you with that. Aphrodite might help you, but Freya would be a stronger help, right? If that's part of your path. Now, if you want to focus on love and romance and self-love, and you're not interested so much in divination, then maybe Aphrodite would step forward and said, no, you know what, let's work together. Okay, so I'm purposely highlighting the two because they're both considered love and goddesses of love and passion and beauty in their own cultures, right? But you can see how one goddess would step forward and be like, I want to work with you, versus the other goddess taking a step back and saying, not right now, Jamie, it's time for you to work with Freya, right? So just wanted to highlight that. So a lot of times we want to work with a goddess, but another goddess steps forward, and sometimes it's a past life issue too. This could be a goddess you worked with in another lifetime, and she's coming back to work with you again because maybe there's some unfinished business and it needs to happen in this lifetime, or some lessons that need to be learned. And so I just wanted to mention that that does happen quite often. Okay, never see it as a rejection. Be open to all possibilities. All goddesses are beautiful. All goddesses are special. They are the divine, and that's what they are, right? They're all divine, and they all want to work with us to help us in our path. Okay, that's the whole point of working with goddess energy, is empowerment and helping us in our path, right? Helping us fulfill the role that we are meant to fulfill in this world, right? What we came to do. So that's how we need to see what working with goddess energy feels like. Okay, so any questions about any other goddess, or did I go a little too fast? Do I need to slow down? Let me know, because I get very passionate, and before I know it, I'm like, so
I just want to say that was amazing. There's like, I was like writing furiously. I'm like, I need to sign up for this thing because I need to know more about all the goddesses. But it was so amazing. And thank you so much for sharing all this knowledge with us. And, you know, even in this little like bite-sized moment, you're covering so much. I really appreciate it.
oh,
And I
you're
love
welcome.
like the what you said about the soft polytheist. and how, because I really see it that way too, that because my mom was interested in like great books of Western literature, was like a college class that she loved. And then so I was introduced to like different mythology books that she had from college when I was a kid. I remember being like 12 and like being late for dinner because I didn't want to put the book down because I was so excited about what the thing I was reading. And it's so interesting, as I've been on a more spiritual path the last couple of years, when I look back at my life, there was all of these moments where this stuff was it was going like, hey, it was tickling me and waking me up. But then, my life went in another direction for a while. And now I'm coming back and I keep remembering and like, and then when I was in college, I took great books of Western lit and started with like the ancient writings in Sumeria and goddess culture. And I really loved Ishtar and Inanna. And I'm wearing a lapis ring. I got obsessed with lapis when I was 18 years old because I was taking this class and I learned about this goddess and I was like, this is amazing. And lapis was her stone. And so I've loved lapis ever since. And I remember buying a ring on eBay. Like that was like before internet shopping was even a thing, in like 2001. And so it's just been like, it's just really great to hear the stories and, it really gets me feeling juicy about it again. And so I just appreciate
I'm
it.
glad. Oh, you're welcome. So it's no secret. This is my passion in life, right? I'm passionate about goddesses and goddess energy and working with goddesses. And I can tell you, I've been on a spiritual path. Let's see, I'm 52 years old. I've been on a spiritual path since I was, I want to say in my 30s. So it's been over 20 years that I've been on a spiritual path. Thank you, Lynn. Thank you so much for coming. I've been in a spiritual path for over 20 years, but I'm gonna be honest, it did not feel complete until I met the goddess. That is the honest truth. It didn't feel complete. Like I felt like something was missing, but I didn't know what it was. I did not know what it was. And when I encountered the goddess, when I even learned that the goddess existed, like when I connected to that, I was blown away. It's like that piece of the puzzle just fit nicely in and the puzzle completed itself. That's exactly how I felt. I felt like I had an incomplete puzzle. I was missing a piece, couldn't figure out what it was. And then it just went right in. And I was like, ah, this is it. This is it. This is what I was missing. Right? That connection to the divine that looks just like me, that I can feel that not only that there's a beautiful goddess somewhere out there. No, that goddess is within me. I am connected to her. That is the piece of divinity that I can look in the mirror and say, I am one with this goddess. I am one with this energy. I have a spark of that within me, and really believe it and really feel it, right? Because everybody says, oh, we have a spark of God within us. But it's hard sometimes to see that spark if you see God as some old man in the clouds, right? With long white hair, and you feel like, you don't feel the connection. You don't feel like, how is this me? Like, how is this a part of me? How am I connected? But then when you know that there's a God and a goddess and you feel that goddess energy and you connect to the goddess and you start to work with her, then that's when you feel like, oh, I get it. Like I am one with her, she's one with me, and I can see the connection. I can see it empowers you, it connects you, and you feel complete. So that was my perspective. That's what I discovered when I discovered the goddess. And that's why, to me, it was a no-brainer. I needed to be a priestess. I went off and I studied every class I could do. I read every book I could do. I did every program I could get my hands on. And I said, I'm going to be a priestess. And I am. I'm going to be a priestess, and I'm going to be in service to the goddess. And I'm going to not only connect to the goddess, but I want to help other people. And I want to help other people connect to the goddess as well. I want them to feel what I feel. I want them to be able to be empowered the way that I was. So that was my goal. And that's the goal of the priestess program, is exactly that. It's to teach you about all these amazing goddesses and how you can work with them and how you can connect to them and how you can work with that beautiful energy to help other people. That's really the gist of what the priestess program is all about. It's being in devotion to that beautiful goddess energy in whatever way you see her. So, and I mentioned the hard and soft polytheists because, believe it or not, at the beginning of my journey with the goddess, I started joining all these groups. And oh my God, the arguments that people would have. No, every goddess is an individual. No, Venus and Aphrodite are not the same. Freya and Aphrodite are not the same. And then you would have people say, well, okay, maybe they're not exactly the same, but they have stuff in common. There's things that connect them. I could see where there's a divine energy, a divine essence that is in all the goddesses, whether you call her Freya or whether you call her Aphrodite. So these two different forms of seeing the goddess, these two different points of view became highlighted. So I said, oh, I need to find out a little more about this. I want to know, why is it that some people are passionate about different goddesses while some people say they're all the same with different names? And that's when I learned about the soft and hard polytheists. And I started to understand the different worldviews. And then everything made sense at that point, because I understood that it's one of those things where nobody is right or wrong. It's just how you connect, how you view it, right? And we have different ways of viewing the divine with different ways of working with the goddess. So I wanted to point that out. So if you guys ever encounter that, you understand where I'm coming from. When I say, oh, Sophia is the divine feminine in all goddesses. Well, some people will argue that and say, no, she's not. Sophia is a Greek goddess. But to the Gnostic Christians, she was the connection of all goddesses. Just like in the Hindu, the Shakti energy is that divine feminine energy that runs through all the Hindu goddesses as well. So that's why I wanted to point that out. Now, I want to talk a little bit about priestess practices, because not only do we learn about the goddesses and the different pantheons, but we also learn how to do ceremonies and how to work with people as a priestess. So when you do the priestess program, there's many different ways of working as a priestess. So you could be a priestess to yourself, meaning if you're not a person that likes to do spiritual work for other people, you don't have to. You can be a priestess for yourself. It's like just the relationship between you and the goddess, and you being in devotion to the goddess, and you working with the goddess and honoring the goddess for your own sake, right? For you, for your own empowerment, for your life. So that's one way of working as a priestess. But then there's also what we call a community priestess. And what's a community priestess? Is a priestess that maybe works in a temple, maybe you just work out of your home, but you work with people, right? And you work in different capacities. You can work as a healer, you can work as a master of ceremonies and doing different types of ceremonies, especially for women. If you want to empower women and you want to do rites of passage, right? And that's part of the work of a community priestess. So there's different ways of being a priestess. And in the program, I cover pretty much everything that you want to learn about what a priestess is. So that way it's your own path, right? I give you the knowledge, but then you take it and you use it in the way that works for you, right? So, and I have ladies that say, oh, I don't want to be a community priestess. I'm kind of shy. I don't want to be out in crowds doing stuff. So you don't have to, right? You could be a priestess for yourself. That could be your relationship with the goddess, and you learn how to work with her and how to honor her. So there's not one way of doing it. And that's what I wanted to point out. But I do want to talk a little bit about the practices, just so that you understand what the practices are all about. Give me 1 second. Oh, some new people joined in. Hi, Andrea. Hi, Ali. Hi, Alexia. Hi, Farah. I didn't say hi earlier. Okay. Can you do me a favor and pull up the PowerPoint where it says priestess practices? I just want to talk a little bit about them. So here are some popular priestess practices. So as a priestess, you're going to want to learn how to do lunar ceremonies. So what are lunar ceremonies? Okay. one of the things that is beautiful about the spiritual path, okay, and I'm not only talking about a priestess here, I'm talking about the spiritual path in general, is our connection to nature, is our connection to the moon, our connection to the sun, and to the times of the year and the different cycles. Okay, that's one of the beautiful aspects of being in a spiritual path. And then as a priestess, if you want to take it one step further, you want to be able to connect to the moon. Why? Because the moon is very feminine, right? Just like the moon has what, 28 to 29 days, so does our cycle. We are very connected to the moon. Okay. And anybody that's here in the sisterhood, they can tell you that the moon to us is pretty sacred, right? That's why we do full moon ceremonies and we do new moon ceremonies, because we honor the moon in its different cycles and we connect to those different cycles, right? So learning how to do ceremonies that honor the moon and help women connect to the energy of the moon, that's pretty cool. And that's pretty awesome. As a priestess, you'll want to learn how to do that. Okay. And even if you never hold a lunar ceremony for other people, how to do it for yourself, how to honor the moon so that you can bring in that beautiful lunar energy into your own life and really connect with it and learn to live your life cyclically. So that's one of the things we talk about. Okay, how to do new moon ceremonies and full moon ceremonies. Beginning of life. So there's a lot of different practices and ceremonies that as a priestess you might want to do for people. And what I mean by beginning of life is you're going to find pregnant women that want you to bless their pregnancy. Okay, that's very common now, is women that they want to do, for example, you have a pregnant woman and she's like, I don't want to have an ordinary bridal shower. I want a bridal, I want a gathering of my closest friends and family, and I want to be honored. I want to be blessed. I want you to bless my womb. I want people to know that I am giving birth to a little goddess or a little god, right? And I want that. I want to be honored. And so as a priestess, we do ceremonies like that, honoring the pregnant woman and helping her connect to her pregnancy and seeing the sacredness of being pregnant, and for everybody to be able to acknowledge the beautiful event that is about to take place, so that it's not just a bridal shower where people come and like, shower her with gifts and play games, but we do sacred things, right? And we do a ceremony and we bless the pregnant mother, and we really go into it. We bring in the goddess and we help her connect, right? So that she is consecrated in every possible way. Okay, and there's different things that we do as a priestess that we work with that. We also do beautiful baby what we call baby naming ceremonies, where we have a mom who just gave birth and she wants to take that baby and she wants to acknowledge that baby to the goddess. She wants the baby to have a sacred name, and she wants to introduce the baby to the community, right? So similar to a baptism, if you can think of the concept of a baptism, but done in a community of people that work with the goddess, right? In a goddess community setting, where it's maybe not a Christian baptism or that kind of setting, but it's a similar concept. You're introducing the baby, you're consecrating the baby. The baby is now, part of this community, right? And you're introducing the baby to the goddess and naming the baby and blessing the baby, asking for protection, right? So that is one of the ceremonies that we do. Wait, oh, I was gonna say, were you able to get back into the? Oh, you can't get in?
Claudia, I think you possibly kicked me out because it says I can't, the host disabled sharing. Or it must have been Marlou.
Oh, is Marlou on? Do you see?
Yeah, she just popped on. That's what it is.
Oh, she just popped on. Oh, okay, awesome. Hi, Marlou.
But it won't let me share anymore.
Oh, okay. No, it's probably
I'll make you
because
co-host. I'll make you
yeah.
co-host.
But it's not me. I'm on the same account as you.
Oh, okay. Don't worry. It's okay. If we can't bring it up, ladies, I know this by heart. Don't worry about it. We don't need the PowerPoint. Um, I was talking, Marlu, before you came in. I covered all of the goddesses. I introduced them to all the goddesses we work with in the sisterhood. And I was talking about the different ceremonies or priestess practices that we do. So I was talking about the beginning of life ceremonies where we introduce the baby, where we do ceremonies. Here we go. Or we do ceremonies for women that are pregnant. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
So the purpose for this slide is to give the ladies an opportunity to make a decision of what you would like for Lisette or I to show you. Like if there's one that you really like, I'd like that activity to happen. For example, you could put in the chat which one you're drawn to, and then whichever is the one that is most popular, then she can go into it and more into depth. What do you think? Do you like that idea?
Yeah, that sounds good, because you know me, I was gonna just tell them about everything in detail. You know me.
No. That was not the idea.
Yeah, we'll be here all night. I know. Ladies, you got to excuse me. I'm very passionate about this. What can I say? Marlu can tell you.
So if you don't know what something means, you can ask before you make a decision. So you're welcome to open up your mics and ask. And then I want to look at the chat and then see which one is most popular.
I told them definitely about the lunar ceremonies, and I told them about beginning of life, but we haven't covered the other ones. So if anybody wants more in depth on any of them, let me know. Because you know me.
Blood ceremonies.
Which one? Blood ceremonies? Oh, okay. Okay. Blood ceremonies.
Wait, before you start, let's see if how many people put in the chat let's see what's popular for them. Okay, we have blood ceremonies going on.
Jamie's like blood ceremonies too.
That's two blood ceremonies.
Blood ceremony, because what is the difference between monarchy and blood ceremonies?
Uh-oh, somebody's sick.
Yeah.
You feeling okay, Ali?
No, I've been sick the last 2 days.
Oh God, we gotta send you some Reiki for sure.
Thanks.
Sorry to hear that.
I forgot what the difference of monarchy and blood ceremonies was.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like an end of life also.
Okay.
Okay.
So, explanation of blood ceremonies?
Yes.
Okay. So, blood ceremonies, ladies, are ceremonies that a priestess can help. So, can we get a brief info on all of them? Not familiar with most of them, new to priestessing. Yeah.
Go for it, Lisa. Go for it.
We'll talk a little bit about all of them. But I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about blood ceremonies. So one of the things that as women, okay, especially us women that, women that have a cycle, women that are still menstruating, you want to be able to use your blood, okay, your menstrual blood, and be able to give it back to the earth. Okay, so blood ceremonies is where you learn how to consecrate your blood, how to give your blood over to the goddess, how to use it to give it back to the earth or give it back to Gaia. There is an ancient prophecy that said that when all women give blood back to the earth, there will be peace on earth. The earth will flourish. Gaia will be reborn. She will reawaken, and we will all be connected, and we will have peace, and we will have blessings, right? That's an ancient prophecy that talks about how blood ceremonies are so important, right? How to honor your blood, how to connect your blood. And so we talk about blood ceremonies as in the priestess program, and we'll talk about different ways that you can use that, and how to work with goddesses and offer your blood in ceremony as something sacred that you are offering. Once again, there's different ways of doing that, and we talk about different ways of connecting. your blood to the earth or your blood to the goddess. Does that make sense? So that's what we call blood ceremonies, right? And we talk about different ways of doing that, right? There's more than one way of doing it. So we do go into that. So that's a little brief explanation of blood ceremonies. Menarche, to answer Ali, menarche is when a girl is having her first period. We will do that in the red tent, and we will talk about it in the priestess program on how to do that, so that you could do that, you know, for yourself. Like, let's say that you want to be able to work with people and do different ceremonies and different priestess practices. So a menarche ceremony would be where you approach mothers that, you know, have maybe a teenage girl or a girl that's maybe 11 or 12 or 13, who's having her first blood. She's bleeding for the first time, and we get to honor her. And I teach, and we go over that, and I teach you different ways of doing that, how to put together a ceremony for something like this, how to make it sacred, so that the girl is now honored in the community, and she's now considered a woman. She's now considered a woman with a period, a woman who menstruates, and she is not only, she could be part of the red tent, like in the case of the red tent, and be a full member of the red tent, but you could also do that even outside the red tent as a priestess. You could do this for people that come to you and would like to have that done. Go ahead, Marlo. I'm sorry. Want to add something?
May I add something?
Of course.
With menarche, when we do these ceremonies for the girls, we are showing them that it's beautiful to be female, rather than making them feel bad because they have the period, or saying, oh, you got the period, oh my God, you know, wait now, what you're going to be feeling. No, instead we celebrate it. We celebrate that that's part of life, that they become the creators of their life, and that this is but because now that they have the period and they're able to create babies, they're also able to create birth beautiful ideas and projects, and they get to celebrate and have beautiful ceremonies of being female. So rather than saying, man, you know, I hate being a girl because I have a period and this sucks, we switch it to a conversation of being happy and celebrating being feminine. So I wanted to mention that.
Thank you. And yeah, Marlu's 100% correct. It's changing the mindset from, you know, wow, I can't believe I now have my period, to wow, I can't believe I now have my period, and I am now a woman, and I am now a sacred being, just like my mother. So it's that kind of, that instilling in them a sense of sacredness, right? A definite sense of sacredness. So that's the menarche. Okay, that's one of the things we talk about in the priestess program. Now let's talk about hand fastings. So what's a hand fasting? So ladies, a hand fasting is a type of wedding, right? So in the olden days, when two people decided that they wanted to be together, okay, they did something called a hand fasting. And it used to be that when people decided that they wanted to join their lives together, they did a year and a day. That was the original idea of a hand fasting. Now, you're probably wondering, a year and a day? Well, because the concept was that you didn't have to stay together forever. You wanted to stay together as long as there was love, as long as you were happy, as long as things flowed, as long as you were both on the same page and you're both going through life together and you have the same ideas. So that was the idea of getting married once upon a time. So it was called a hand fasting, and it was a ceremony where the bride and the groom would choose some beautiful ribbons, and the colors of the ribbons signified different things, right? It had a very symbolic nature to them. So they could choose the ribbons they wanted according to what they wanted to manifest in their relationship, or what they wanted it to be part of their life. So they would be hand fasted by a priestess, right, who would wrap these ribbons around their hand and bless them and ask them that for a year and a day they were kind of husband and wife. Oh, Jamie's showing hers. Oh, okay, Jamie, I didn't know you were hand fasted, so you know where I'm coming from.
Yes, my husband and I, when we got married, our priestess did a hand fasting, and these are our cords.
Oh, how beautiful. Very beautiful. Thank you for showing that.
Mhm.
Awesome. Thank you. So that was the concept of a year and a day. Now in modern times, right? Let's fast forward to modern times. Most people now don't do the hand fasting with the idea of a year and a day. Now they do it more as a wedding, right? Where you hope to stay together forever. Like that is the goal. But once upon a time it was a year and a day. Now you could choose to do a year and a day if you want to. That's always an option. But the idea now is that it is a type of wedding, right? Like what we more modernly consider a wedding, right? And it's done by a priestess. And a lot of times if you have a particular goddess or god that you work with or that you're connected to, then that becomes part of the ceremony. You bring in that goddess, you consecrate that relationship to the goddess or the god, or the spirits that you want to bring in, right? And a hand fasting, it's a beautiful ceremony because you can personalize it. You can make it about as personal as you want it to be. Okay, so you can add many elements into your hand fasting ceremony that makes it all about you and your significant other, right? So meaning that there's culture involved, like maybe you are connected to the Egyptian gods and goddesses, and your significant other is more into the Greeks. So maybe you can do, something that honors the Greeks, something that honors the Egyptian gods and goddesses, so you can make it your own, is what I'm trying to say. So that's one of the things that we talk about in the priestess program, is how to do a hand fasting. Another part of the hand fasting, and I don't know if you did this, Jamie, is jumping over the broom. That's another usually most hand fastings have like a broom that you jump over, which is like, it's supposed to be good luck and good fortune for the marriage and for the relationship, and then you could have a hand fasting for an engagement. Right. Thank you, Marlou. Yeah, you could choose to do a hand fasting for an engagement and then do like a traditional wedding for your actual wedding. So there's so many ways that you could do that. Yeah, and then after 1 year and a day get married. Exactly. Thank you, Marlou. Like I'm saying, this is all very personalized. So there's like 100 different combinations here that you could do. And as a priestess working with people, you can mention that. You can say, hey, we can do a hand fasting for a year and a day, and then you could do a traditional wedding, or you can just do a hand fasting and that is your wedding. So just so you know, there's just different ways of doing that. Now I'm going to talk about hand partings. You're probably wondering, hand partings. Okay, so guess what a hand parting is? It's the opposite of a hand fasting. Let's say that you have been hand fasted to your significant other, and it has reached the point that you now want to separate. Okay, so this is a way of, I want to call it a spiritual divorce, because I think that's like the best way to say it and to give the point across, that you decide to amicably separate, right? A lot of times maybe there's kids involved and you don't want to have a nasty divorce. You want to be able to separate from your significant other and honor them for the time that they spent with you and the time you spent with them. And you want to do this in the best possible way. So in a hand parting, similar to a hand fasting, once again, they wrap your hands together, but then these ribbons get cut, right? And then you usually will say, oh, okay, that runs through the year. Oh, how cool, we're hand fasted. That's really cool, really nice. So yeah, in a hand parting, the goal is to separate amicably, right? Be able to honor them and say, thank you for the lessons I learned from you. Thank you for the time we spent together. Maybe you can say something nice about the person, right? You want to focus on the positive. You want to end the relationship in a good note, right? And be able to, for the sake of maybe children, if you have kids together, or just for the sake of like living a spiritual life, that you feel that you don't have resentment and you don't have grudges. You want to be able to honor them and be able for them to move on with their life, go on down their spiritual path, and you go on with yours. So that's the goal of a hand parting. And once again, it could be very personalized, and you can connect to the gods and the goddesses and whatever spirits you work with to help you heal from this and be able to part amicably, and for there to be healing on both sides. So that's the goal of a hand parting. Okay. I'm going to skip on house blessings for a minute because I want Marlu to talk about house blessings, because that's one of her biggest specialties. So I'm going to go to crone ceremonies for a moment. So what's a crone ceremony? Well, ladies, if you are no longer menstruating and you are now entering the beautiful, wonderful world of menopause, you are now a crone. You are now a wise woman. You have now learned all the major lessons in your life. I'm not saying you still don't have lessons to learn. I'm sure you do, but you have reached that point where you are the elder. You are the wise woman. You are the one that everybody turns to. You are the mentor in your community, in your family, in your group. So a crone ceremony is honoring that, honoring the fact that you no longer bleed because you are now an elder. You are now the wise woman, right? And so it's honoring that. Just like a menarche ceremony is honoring the first blood, a crone ceremony is honoring the opposite, the last blood. In other words, that you no longer bleed. Okay, so it's usually crone ceremonies are done for women that are in menopause, but it can be done for women that are premenopausal as well. But usually it's more common among women that are that have entered menopause. And so that's what a crone ceremony is. And it can be very beautiful and very personal. So as a priestess, you want to be able to do crone ceremonies. And then there's end of life. So end of life is exactly what it is. It's a person that is dying. It's a person that is about to transition. And maybe that person wants a special ceremony, a connection, something spiritual to help them feel comfort, not only for them, but for the family and for their friends and their loved ones, so that they can transition and that the family can receive healing. So it's usually a very spiritual ceremony, a very spiritual connection. Sometimes the priestess will read from the Book of the Dead, if you've heard of the Tibetan Book of the Dead or the Egyptian Book of the Dead, or any other holy book, any other book that maybe they can read quotes from. Sometimes there'll be prayers, ceremonies that will be done, meditations for the person that is transitioning, and also for the family and the friends that are there to support. So it's a beautiful ceremony. And Marlu says crones tend to feel outcasted. Yeah, it's true. We tend to feel like women that are entering the crone stage of their life sometimes feel like, oh, I'm old, and this is a way of honoring that, and so that you don't feel like you're old. Not at all. What you are is wise, right? You've learned your lessons in life, and it's now time for you to be a mentor. So that's the goal of the crone ceremony, like what that's all about. So, and now I'm going to leave Marlu to talk a little bit about house blessings, because this is something she excels in. Go ahead, Marlu, talk a little bit about the house blessings.
House blessings can be done in many different ways. Some people want only protection, and others want to bring in health and bring love and beauty and other things. So I use crystals to put around their house, depending on what they want. And we go around the perimeter of their territory, and we put salt around it, and we ask for protection from under the earth and over the sky and all the way around, and creating a bubble of protection where only those people who come to this home they will only come with intention of loving them up and empowering them, and for nothing more than to really be true friends. So anybody that is not coming with good intentions will feel like this is not the place where I feel like being. So they have a discomfort when they're coming through. And so it all depends too, because what I usually do is I do a huge grid, right? A crystal grid in their home. And I find the center of their home, and I do, you know, put the others around. I also find ways to work with them if they want money. Well, the southwest corner of the house is where you want to put that green stuff. So green, crystals, and prayer in that area to bring in the money, the finances. And there's other things involved, but it's to raise the energy of the home, pretty much. Okay,
Thank
done.
you.
I'm complete.
Thank you. Thank you. So that's something that you can do as a priestess as well. We talk about house blessings, and like Marlu said, there's so many different ways of doing house blessings, right? And just depends on the person, it depends on the family that you're doing this with. And once again, you can incorporate the spirits, the goddesses, and there's just many different ways of doing a house blessing. And I believe now we're going to talk a little bit about crystal grids. So Marlu, take it away. That's another one of her specialties. She's the crystal grid guru.
Well, I wanted to bring crystals in because most of us are familiar with one or two or three crystals. And the importance of a crystal grid is that it enhances the power of all of the crystals there, and so that energy flows in the room or in the area. And if you were to use the grid in the home, where you find the center of the home and you put one there and then you put them around, then you are actually bringing that enhancement, that energy into the entire home. So I wanted to show you a little bit about what a crystal grid looks like, because today's soul work for tomorrow is for you to either draw or create your own crystal grid with your own crystals, or draw it, or plan it out if you don't have crystals, which you're going to use for what. And they don't have to all look the same, but they need to have some kind of energy that's similar. Or you can, there's also, you can also do a grid that is programmed to keep your chakras flowing and open. So that's another way of doing a grid. So pretty much you want to select the crystals based on what you're doing, what you want them to work for you. And then you need to cleanse them and charge them. So cleansing is simple. There's many ways to cleanse them. You could either, not all can be put in water. Some of them cannot be put in water. Not all can be put in the sun. So easiest, and just to be sure that you're not going to mess with the crystal, you maybe want to put it out in the full moon, or you want to put it underneath rice or underneath the earth, like put it in the earth. Which ones can't go in the sun? The rose quartz. There's some that their color shifts with the sun. Gotta look that up. But I have it in one of my classes, but I don't know them.
I think
but
amethyst. I think amethyst is another one.
I thought of amethyst right away, but I'm not sure. So,
Okay.
but yeah, it's possible. But definitely rose quartz. And like there's some that you can't put in water because they disintegrate a little bit in the outside.
Selenite. Selenite is an example of one you can't put in water. It disintegrates.
Yeah. So you want to like just keep it like that, charge it. An easy way is to just get a smudge stick. You can even breathe on it. Your breath will cleanse it. And it will also at the same time give your energy to the stone, to the crystal. So then you are doing two things. You're letting it know that you're its master now, and that you want to have a relationship with that crystal, as well as cleansing it. And then you want to also make sure that you charge the crystal. And the way you charge it is you hold it in your dominant hand, and you tell it that you're expecting it to be supportive of you in this particular matter, whatever it is. Like, there are two crystals that you can charge and make it do for you whatever you want. The amethyst is one, and I had it in the tip of my tongue. Quartz.
The clear quartz, maybe.
Clear quartz and amethyst. You can charge it to be whatever you want it to be. Where the other ones have specific energies, these are open for you to be able to tell it whatever you want from it. And the amethyst is also a little more in the spiritual, and the crystal. Well, the crystal, they both are, because they work a lot with the crown chakra. So you want to lay them out like you see these pictures where the middle one is a little bigger. It doesn't have to be, because you'll see some pictures now that they're not that much bigger, but one is in the middle that's different, and then all the others just geometrically move around it. And you want to try to keep them in at the same type of space. But see, the most important part of it is not the way that it looks or how you put it, but what you tell them that you want them to do for you. And although some people start from the outside telling them, I like to start from the middle one. I have them all work with the center one, so that the center one has the most enhanced energy. And I know that that's the one that's bringing out the energy to that area of the house and to myself. So what you do is you tell the center one what you want. You already told all the others, right? You already powered them. And now you tell the center one, then you touch it, and then you go touching every crystal. I'm coming back to the center to touch the next crystal, go back to the center, touch the next crystal, go back to the center. And you do that all the way around until you've reached all of them. Once you've touched all of them, now they're all connected, and that energy remains within all the entire grid, and that flows out into the area where they're at. And it can be a grid that will take care of the whole house also. You could ask it to protect your whole house, and you could be bringing spirit guides and angels to be helping you with that as well. And go to the next slide. Let me see what it is. Okay. So I was going to have you do your own crystal grid, but because we didn't tell you in advance to bring the crystals to class, what we want is for you to do the homework, right? You could just plan it if you want to. And here is steps 1, 2, 3. Place your largest crystal in the center of the grid and smaller stones around it. You're going to work your way around it and make it even. Okay, make it symmetrical. That's pretty much it. You don't have to have anything under it. One of the pictures here doesn't have any lines under it. It could be straight up on the table as well. So you don't need anything. Do you have any questions so far? Okay. Next slide. Okay, so that's your soul work. Okay, and we are at 30 minutes. We still have 30 minutes. So before we give away what we're going to give away, let's give it away, and then we can stay talking. How about that? And then you guys can go whenever you want. So what we're giving away.
Is an
An-
Akashic reading.
And Lisette, or Aislinn Wolf. By the way, Aislinn Wolf is Lisette. That's her spiritual name. Just like I'm Lou Mira, she's Aislinn Wolf. Marisa, are you writing everybody's names down?
I've had everybody's names on Post-its all the days and I've just been moving them. So now I'm just making sure I have everybody and I'm going to pull them off my wall. So I've got Jamie, I've got Connie. Is she still here? Connie was here earlier. Should I
Yeah,
pull
she's
the
here.
people?
No, she's
Okay.
here. She's here.
Okay.
I see Connie.
I got Claudia P. I got Farah. I got me. I got Andrea. Tell me, just make sure. Does someone double check me? I've got Kim. I've got Claudia N. I think I saw her. I'm assuming that's her iPhone.
Yeah,
I
that's her.
have Alexia. And I've got Allie Love. Who am I missing? Anybody?
Farah.
No, I have her. I
Oh,
definitely
okay.
have her.
I think that's it, right?
Yeah, Claudia
think
is here.
taking a look. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
I will mix them up.
We had Lynn Rose, but she had to leave. So
Okay.
she was here.
The winner is Alexia.
Oh,
Congratulations.
awesome.
Awesome,
Yay, thank
Alexia.
you.
So reach out to me. If you want to screenshot my phone number. And
Let
that's
me tell
also-
you, let's tell her what an Akashic reading is.
Yes, good idea. That would help, right? That would help. She's like, what's an Akashic reading? Okay, great. I'm getting one. I have no idea what it is. Okay, so, all right. So an Akashic reading, that is a reading. I've been doing this for over 20 years. I'm an Akashic reader. Okay. And basically it is a reading that I connect to your Akashic energy. So the Akashic energy, thank you, Ali. The Akashic energy is the energy that surrounds your soul. Okay. In that energy, which we call Akasha, okay, it's an energy that is found. You could say it's, if you think of the chakras, think of your 7 chakras, okay, above the crown, which would be considered the 8th chakra. That energy, which encapsulates all around your aura, that would be a little bit toward the energy of the Akashic fields, right? And basically in this energy is written all of the information of your soul since the moment your soul was created. So it is in there, we can find all of your past lives, we can find all of your soul contracts, why you're here, what you're meant to do in this lifetime, your relationships with other people. It's a way of tapping into that wisdom, right? That energy that helps us understand who you are and why you're here. So it's a great reading to focus on the present and to focus on the past. Not a great reading for the future. And what I mean by that is the future is unwritten. It's not 100% cemented in the records. So if you ask future questions, I can give you a probability, but I wouldn't be able to tell you for sure what will happen because a lot of it is based on decisions you're going to make in the present. But I can talk to you about things of your past, whether it's past lives or things that have happened in this lifetime. I can talk to you about things that are going on with you right now, your relationships with people. If you have questions about your health, if you have a decision you need to make, if you're unsure of something that is going on in your life, if you have a dream that you want interpreted, that you want to understand a little bit better, like all of those things can be addressed in an Akashic reading, just to give you an kind of like a little idea of how it works. And it's a question and answer reading. So I don't use cards, I don't use oracles or anything like that. It's basically, you make me a list of questions that you want to know. And when I do your reading, I with your name, I say a sacred prayer and I connect to the energy of the Akashic fields that is particular to you. And then I will ask the questions you ask me and I wait for a response and then I share it. So that's how it is. It's a question and answer kind of a reading. So I don't know if I explained that in a way that is understandable. I hope I did. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me as well before your reading, and I can answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I might do that. I'm also feeling under the weather, so
Okay, whenever you want, you can just reach out to me, and I can give you a better explanation. I can help you come up with questions, whatever you want. That
No, I
would make
just
it
had a
easier
deja
for you.
vu. I saw this. You
You
said
did?
that, Alexia. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
oh wait, say
Wow.
that again. I'm sorry.
I had
She
a
had a
deja vu.
yeah.
Like
She had a
I had
Yeah.
heard you say that to her.
before she
Okay.
said it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Deja vu moments
Okay. Well, thank
are
you so much. I'm
hysterical.
really excited. Thank you.
You're welcome anytime. Anytime.
So I plan to do a group past life regression. And the difference between a past life regression and an Akashic reading, they're both about your past lives. But a past life regression is experiential to you, and you actually go through it, right? You experience it, but you're only experiencing that which you are concentrated or focused on trying to learn. Like, let's say that you go to a past life regressionist because of a health issue. Or does it have anything to do with a past life? Then the past life regressionist is going to ask your soul to bring you to a past life that began this health issue, or where did it begin, and for you to experience it so you would know where it's coming from. But you're not like just jumping from one past life to one past life. That's not how it is. With an Akashic reading, you can ask specific questions, and even though you may not know which past life it is, you know it's from a past life and your answers are being explained to you, but you're not actually experiencing it. So it's good to have both, because you can experience it, actually see yourself doing it, talking, seeing the people that you love in other forms, like your husband might be your best friend or things like that. You see things like that in a past life regression. But in Akashic reading, all the curiosities that you might have of the past life regression can be answered. So you can ask tons of questions in an Akashic reading. That's why I like them. So does that
Yeah.
make sense, the differences?
Yeah, that's a great explanation, Marlu. So like she said, a past life regression, you experience it. In a Akashic reading, I tell you about it. But you don't experience it, but I tell you, So that's kind of like, and then the best combination is both, right? You experience it and then you stay with questions and then you want to know further and then I can hopefully answer those, So that's, yeah, exactly. That's how it works. Thank you, Marlu. That was a great explanation.
You're welcome. So I'm a past life regressionist, but tomorrow, hopefully, if we have time, and if not, it will be Friday, we're going to do a group past life regression. It's not the same as when you do it yourself, only one person, because when it's one-on-one, I'm gearing towards what it is that you need, what your questions are. And we also work with your health and things like that. But when it's a group, you're just going to experience a life that will show you something you need to know right now. So if you're here, if you're there doing the group past life regression, there's a reason why. And something will be shown to you that you need to know right now that will help you to grow and from here on. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing. And tomorrow, Lisette is going to do a meditation where you will contact, or a goddess will contact you and you communicate with her. So we don't know who that will be. It's completely going to be like a surprise for you. You're going to bring that one in, and she'll want to communicate with you. So who knows who it is.
So
And
I
astral
just
temples too. We're going to talk about astral temples.
Marlu, I just read in the comments. Is it Claudia? Claudia, are you Red 10 sister? Because I can't.
That's Kim.
Oh, that's Kim. Okay. Because Kim just said that she hopes that the group past life regression is tomorrow because she won't be here Friday. So I don't know if you think we can invert them and do what we were gonna do on Friday for tomorrow, and then I do that on Friday.
Yeah, we could do the meditation on Friday and we could do the past life regression tomorrow.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
She wrote, "It's okay. I'm meant to hear what I'm meant to hear." But I mean, we could do that. So that way you could have the benefit of experiencing a group past life
And
regression, right?
you were probably meant to write that in the chat, so we make that change.
Exactly. 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 So there you go. All right. So we will do that, ladies. We will do a group past life regression tomorrow. And then I will do a goddess meditation with you guys on Friday. And that way you get to you get to have the benefit of both. You get to see what a past life regression feels like, which by the way is pretty amazing. Gotta tell you.
And you're gonna learn how to do an altar for your ancestors with Lisette. That's on Friday. And
Right.
then tomorrow she's going to talk about how to open. We are going to talk about how to open sacred space with the elements, and then how to open sacred space with goddesses and angels and things like that. Things like that. So you get an idea of what an astral temple is. You get to understand it, and then you get to experience it on Friday.
Right.
When we do the meditation.
Exactly.
Um,
Exactly.
So
Exactly.
that's what's coming up. I don't know if there's any other enchantress thing, because it's all pretty much priestess from here on, right? Other than the past life regression, which is in the enchantress program.
Right.
I don't know. I think everything else is priestess. Okay. Any questions? You guys are having fun?
You're enjoying it? You're
Yeah,
enjoying the
good.
experience? I'm glad. We're glad. Any questions, any comments? If you want to do you want us to clarify anything that maybe we did clarify? Or
Yeah,
was
I had a question about what is the priestess the same as a woman or a shaman? Because I know that's been something a lot of people have been talking about. What is the shaman versus the priestess? And I know women can now become one. Is that similar or different?
okay, so I'm glad you mentioned that. Okay, so a shaman is a healer. It's a type of priestess. Okay, so a woman who is a shaman, is very similar to a priestess. The only real solid difference I want to say is kind of like the philosophy behind it. So, for example, a woman shaman is going to focus more on shamanic practices, more indigenous practices. She'll focus on maybe a particular culture, right? Where she will do healing work. Maybe she'll do plant ceremonies. Maybe she'll do a lot of work with the land. She'll facilitate different forms of healing. She'll do soul retrievals like a shaman would. She'll work more with journeying. She'll do a lot of journeying work for clients. She'll meet with people and do like very similar to what a shaman would do, right? But at the same time, there's an element of priestess in it as well, because she also connects to the divine. She connects to maybe a goddess. It depends on the culture. But it's a little more focused. The philosophy is a little more shamanic, what we call shamanic, which is more indigenous, more working with maybe Native Americans or maybe there's shamans from Europe too. There's like Celtic shamans, druids, druidry. There's many different types of shamanic work that you can engage in. So a woman shaman would be more like that, like Munaiki. Thank you, Marlu. Like for example, Munaiki is an example of a practice, a type of healing that Marlu is versed in, for example, that she's really good at, and she's a Munaiki expert here, and that's shamanic. That's shamanic. That's a type of shamanic healing great for women. It can be used by a priestess that focuses on shamanic work. So it's very similar to priestessing, very, very similar, just a little different in some philosophies, okay, in some ways of doing the work. As a priestess, you may not, maybe you don't do any soul retrieval, maybe you don't do journeying with clients, but you'll do maybe ceremonies of different kinds. You'll do other types of work that's maybe not as shamanic. So
Mhm.
that's kind of like the main difference. I don't know if,
I-
did I answer your question? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's different, but yeah, it has some similarities. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I do want to say in the Enchantress program, we talk about shamanic work and how you can implement some shamanic work into your practices, into your
Mhm.
life. And in the priestess program, she goes over journeying with drums. So that is also shamanic.
Right.
So,
Right. Exactly. Thank you, Marlu. Yeah. So we both incorporate a little bit of shamanic work in in both programs, but it's not a shamanic program where you become like a female shaman in that sense. Not full blown shamanic work. There's a little bit of it,
but
but
it's
it's
coming. The
yeah,
Munaiki is coming.
right. Exactly. She does. That's something that we're going to incorporate afterwards. We're going to teach Munaiki and things that are shamanic. So I don't know if that hopefully that made sense. So
Thank you.
you're welcome anytime. Does anybody have any other questions? Anything else you'd like me to explain or clarify? No? Any comments? Anything you want to mention? You can say, Lisette, you spoke too fast. Can you go over something that is Marlu knows I talk 100 miles per hour sometimes, especially when I really get into it and I get really passionate. So if there's something you want me to like go over or mention again, thank you, Claudia. I don't mind.
I had something.
Okay, go for
I
it.
so I work with like angel energies, and I've worked with goddess and ascended masters, but this, I don't know. So this is just new. So is it like I don't necessarily consider myself polytheistic. Like I feel like it's like a one and then it's all infinite manifestations. Is that something that's like okay in this? Do you have to be one or another? Or, so anyway, that was my question.
That's a good question, actually. So in the Enchantress program, Marlu goes into a lot of detail about angels, right? And she works up, she talks about star seeds, she talks about ascended masters and that kind of energy,
Light
um,
workers.
light workers. So Marlu goes really in depth in that sense. I do talk about angels as well. I do talk about working with angels. She goes a lot deeper into angels. I focus a little bit more on goddesses. Um, but I also work with ascended masters. I also work with angels. I work with goddesses. You don't have to be a polytheist, a strict polytheist in any way to work with goddesses, because you could work with one goddess and doesn't have to be multiple goddesses. If you feel called to work with a divine feminine in some way, you can still be a priestess. Like to give you an example, I have friends that they don't work with multiple goddesses. They'll work with Mary Magdalene, for example, or they'll work with Mother Mary, and they see her as the divine feminine or as the goddess in their life, and that's who they work with. Um, so there's that. Like you don't have to work with goddesses of multiple pantheons or multiple cultures if you don't want to or if you don't feel called to. The purpose of the priestess program is to make you aware of all of the goddesses that are out there, all the different cultures, and how they work with the goddess energy and how they connect to them, and different ways of working with divine feminine energy as a priestess and what you can do as a priestess. So it really depends on you, like how you feel. It doesn't, like I'm saying, I know people that are a priestess of one particular goddess, um, or of the goddess in general. maybe not even one particular goddess, but just the goddess energy or the divine feminine energy, and they work with that as a priestess. So that's one way that you can be a priestess and not be a polytheist in the strict sense of the word. Or you could work with Barlu's program, where, like I'm saying, she goes up really deep into like angels and light work, and she talks a lot about star seeds, and which is all related to ascended masters and that kind of energy. So really depends on which way you want to go. So you could work with both of us or one of us, and whatever way you feel called. But we work very similar. We just do it, the way we do it is a little different, but it's very related. Like Marlu could tell you, a lot of our classes are very interrelated. Like she'll talk about divination, I'll talk a little bit about divination as well, but it's just the focus is maybe a little different, if that makes sense. Right,
Yeah, I'll
Marlu?
talk about numerology, and then she'll talk about how numerology with your name connects you to a specific goddess.
Right.
And then I'll give an introduction of astrology, and then she'll be talking about the Venus
Synodic cycle,
cycle.
right? Like the Venus gates and how to work with that. So we work very closely together, both programs. They're like, it's like they're similar but different. Have you shared the details of the program? So I think that's going to be on Friday, right? Friday is when we're going to talk more in depth of like the way that the programs are broken out. Is that correct, Marlu?
Yeah, we have, I have 4 slides that shows what the topics are in every month. And I'll show them to you guys on Friday. So you can make a decision if you want to, or, you'll have it. So, we plan on doing this every year. So
Yeah, this is our love project, guys. We love this, this Goddess Academy. This is our baby. And we hope to do this every year. This is something that we love. And and it's going to be evolving, meaning like, even though we're going to do this every year, it might not be exactly the same every year, because we're adding to it, making it better and better and better the best we can. So, but like I'm saying, this is our passion in life. So, this is our love project, like I call it, because
we will be meeting. She's asking when we're going to meet. We're going to meet on Thursdays, 7 p.m.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be taking first and third Thursday. She's going to be taking second and fourth Thursday.
Right.
So that's the idea.
Yeah. So that every Thursday it's either enchantress or priestess. It's one of the two. But
Unless
it's always
there's 5 weeks. If there's, then you'll have a week off.
Well, yeah, then you'll have a week off. But the goal is that one Thursday is enchantress, one Thursday is the priestess program. So that if you wanted to do both programs, then it's that every Thursday you're gonna have a class. Like that's probably the best way to put it. And that way it's once a week that you meet. If you're doing both programs, if you're doing one program, then obviously it's two times a month, depending on which program you want to do.
In the Enchantress program, there are 2 months where we meet 3 times, and the third time is optional. But because it's so big, what we're talking about, that I have to include a third week. And we talk about in class of when we're going to do it, so that everybody's comfortable with it.
Yeah, we let you know ahead of time for that particular.
The divination month, man, that's huge.
Yeah, in the divination month, you learn a lot. You learn tarot and oracle and runes and dream interpretation.
I gave you the runes, so
Oh,
you'll be doing
right.
runes.
That's right. I'll be doing runes this time. Yeah. Last year we did runes in the enchantress. I'm doing it now in the priestess. When we cover Freya and the Norse pantheon.
When you cover the Nord, yeah.
Yep. We're gonna go into runes. I personally love runes, but anyway, a little particular.
But we're doing scrying. We're doing reading tea leaves and coffee leaves and
coffee. Coffee grounds. Yeah.
I'm gonna teach you what it's like to do a past life regression. You won't have a certificate to be a past life regressionist, but you'll understand all the neat stuff about it. I'm gonna introduce what a palm reader does, like the basics. Really, you'll be able to understand your own palm and your fingers, that kind of stuff. But all of that is like in the I don't know, 6 or 7 months in the Enchantress program.
So Ali wants to know, yeah, it is a 12-month program.
13 months.
Oh,
for
13,
me.
that's right, 13. Right, for Enchantress, it's 13. For Priestess, it's 12. I end 1 month before, and the Enchantress is 13 months. And only because the Enchantress has the divination, the past life regression, there's like a little bit, it's a little longer. That's why it's 1 more month. And we want to start in January. Our goal is to start the program in January, right? Claudia,
Mhm.
that's our goal. Our goal is to start in January, because somebody asked, I think Ali said, when do you start? So our goal is to start in January. And that's why we're doing this this event, because we want to
Immersion. Mhm.
Immersion, right? We want to get you guys to understand a little bit about both programs ahead of time. So you know, we have a wait list, and we want to know how many people are going to be on the wait list, so that when we start in January, hopefully we can start already with the group ready to go. So that is the goal.
And our graduates are, we gave them open seating, so they can come to any class that they want to see again, or they want to repeat.
Right.
If
Right.
they're able to come. And if we have a class that we start this year that wasn't there last year, we will announce it to our graduates, so that if they want to come to that class, they'll be sitting with you guys. Yeah.
Exactly. So that's one of the awesome things, that you get an opportunity
Claudia,
to.
just put the link of the wait list up there.
Oh, cool. Thank
We
you,
weren't going to
Claudia.
talk about this till Friday, but since you asked.
Yeah, awesome. So you get a head start. Yeah. So we do have a wait list, and it would be awesome if you are thinking, no, honey, I'm an Aries too. Hello, I understand. I understand Aryan energy very well. Yes. We are beautiful and we are impatient, but that's okay. We want to know what we want to know right now. So I understand that. I get it. One of the things I just wanted to mention is, if you think you are interested in one of the programs, you could put yourself on the wait list. It doesn't mean you are committed to starting the program. It just means that you are interested. So at least we have an idea of who's interested. And that way, you know, we can reach out to you if there's any changes of dates or anything like that. We can let you know. And then we have a better idea of how many people are interested, and we know when we're ready to start, right? Because we want to have a group ready to go so we can start both programs. So if you think you might even consider taking any of the two programs, you could put yourself on the wait list.
There is also a bonus. Are we allowed to say that, Claudia?
Can we talk about the bonus, Claudia? Maybe, perhaps. Yay.
Why don't you say it, Claudia?
Yes, go ahead.
You go.
No, you go ahead. I'm in the background here.
Okay. Yeah. From everybody that signs up, we are going to give away one full scholarship, a whole year free for one person. So we're going to do kind of like what we're doing, where we choose a name. We're going to do that for one person.
Yep. So the sooner you sign up, the better chance that you could win the scholarship. So
Is that
just
so?
saying.
I don't think so.
Well, I mean, think about it. If you wait till the last minute and we choose a name and then you decided you wanted to be, then you miss out. So if you
that's
put
true.
yourself on the wait list, then better chance of possibly winning it. So, right? So anyway, so yeah, that's one of the things that we're offering, ladies.
And
so
I think we've said that we will pick the names from those participants who showed up to the 5 days.
No, not for that.
Not
No.
for that? Okay.
No,
I
it's
think
those
it was
those who sign up.
Who sign up.
sign
All
up.
right.
Yeah, those who sign up. Yeah, who also sign up. So I am complete for today. Marlu, did you
I
want to
think you
add
did do
anything?
that though. You did write that, didn't you? That wasn't what we had talked about, but I think you did write that. Check it out, Claudia.
Yeah. Let me know if
You did write something that was for somebody, for all who were in all 5 classes. There was a bonus, but I don't know if it was that.
Yes, that was Jess. She wrote it. I just want to double check that.
Okay, yeah, check please. Thanks.
Yeah, sorry, ladies. Hold on 1 minute. Let's check to make sure we're not
In the
giving you wrong
meanwhile,
information.
we're here for questions. What have you liked so far the most from the immersion?
I don't even know where to start with that. I have loved every night so far. I tell my husband all about it after we get done. The first night when we did that meditation, after we were done, I was so excited. I went and I told my, I'm part of a group, it's called Green Women Gathering here in Pennsylvania. I'm part of the coordinators for it. We have 2 retreats every year. So we have like a Facebook page and all that. And I went on there and I told them about the meditation and gave them the prompts and trying to get some interaction with the ladies there. Like I'm loving everything.
Oh, so glad you liked the meditation.
Oh, that was awesome.
That's awesome, Jamie. That's
I
awesome.
really love the meditation, and I really like today too, like going over all the goddesses, because that's something that I really haven't explored. And when Lisette said earlier that she felt like there was like a missing puzzle piece, and then all of a sudden she like learned about the goddesses. When you said that, I got lit up with goosebumps because I was like, is that what I'm missing? Because I've been feeling that lately. And so when you said it, it just kind of clicked. And I like even looked up and I was like, oh, wait a minute here. Like there's no accidents or mistakes that she just said that and the way that I reacted. So it was just really cool to go over them because, you know, I have gone to some of your red tent stuff and I've done cord cutting with Marlu and she had me open the corners in my own house. I didn't know what that really even meant at the time. I knew I was protected and if I trust Marlu with everything. So like, I know that if she was having me do that, we did that. But now to look at it a little deeper today and like see who we were welcoming in and like what was going on and different things like that was just really informative. And it's got me like, I'm probably going to go do a whole bunch of research on my own now. Like it's given me something else to dive deeper in on my own, but also to have you guys as a resource to talk to about and you know things like that. It's just been so cool these last few days and I'm excited for the rest of the week. Like it sounds like we have a lot of fun things coming up, so this has been fun overall.
We're so glad to hear that. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, reach out, honestly, because sometimes you'll do events like this and maybe at the moment you don't have a question, but then later you sit there and you're like, wait, ooh, I didn't think of that. Hold on, I have a question. So just know we're available. You can reach out. I don't know if you had an opportunity to screenshot my phone number and my email. So if you have any questions regarding the goddesses, if you have any aha moments, any dreams, because that happens too. You might have some funky dream where you wake up tomorrow and you're like, wait, was that a goddess that I dreamt about? Okay, hold on. What happened? Let me find out. So just so you know, you can reach out. Okay. And I can try to help you in the best way I can. And yeah. And she is the missing piece, Maritza, at least for me. That's how it was for me. It was my missing piece. And you know, and I feel like my spiritual path is more complete now because I feel more balanced. I guess that's a good way of putting it. I feel more balanced. You know, it feels more balancing for me, you know, and for everybody, it's going to be different, right? Everybody has a different path, but once you discover what that missing piece is, and all of a sudden you feel like the jigsaw puzzle has the last piece has been inserted, you will feel it. You will feel it. You will feel that connection. You'll feel that aha moment. Oh my God, I got it. You know? So yeah.
Well, it's 9 o'clock.
Yes, it is 9 o'clock. I feel time flies, honestly. It really does. Especially when you're having fun. And I sure had fun.
And I got here late to I go to school. I go to Florida International University, and today was my next to the last class. I have another class next Wednesday, and I'm done with this semester. And I'm going to school to be a teacher. Not that I'm going to do it,
Surprise, surprise, she's going to school to be a teacher. Like she doesn't teach already, but okay, but go ahead.
But to teach children specific ages and yeah, I'm not going to be a teacher in a public school system, but maybe there's something for me in the future. We'll see. But I want to finish my career. You know, I want to get it done. So I have 2 more classes left and then I'm done.
Woo!
Yeah, it's been a long journey.
Oh yeah. I understand that. I've been in school forever. Trust me, with a master's in mental health, that's like what, 8-9 years of my life. It's a long time. That's a long time. So I understand. I get it. I get it.
Does anybody
So-
else have any questions before we go?
Anything we haven't covered that you have any questions or?
And we're still in the process of finishing what we want to bring up on Friday. So if there's something specific that you really want to learn about, reach out to us and we can bring it up, you know?
That's right. That's right. We can incorporate it in our last day. So let us
So
know.
we have the altar that you're going to teach. You and I are going to do the 4 quarters so everybody knows how to do them. And then we're going to teach you what 6 quarters means, astral temple. And then on Friday, you're going to open an astral temple and do the meditation within the astral temple, but you're going to open it with the archangels and one goddess. So it's going to be super nice. So we have some nice stuff coming. And if you can think of anything else, please. I mean, this is for you.
That's right. That's right. So let us know. Let us know if there's anything you want us to incorporate.
We love you.
Have
you
a
so
wonderful
much.
night.
Thank
Rest
you,
up.
Lee. Thank you.
Bye.
You're
Bye,
welcome.
guys.
Rest up so you won't fall asleep tomorrow in the past
I
life regression.
I know, right? Oh
Bye.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, rest up because that could be that's gonna be really relaxing. Heads
Yeah,
up.
And
just
don't
when
forget to
working or
drink your
commuting.
water.
And
Yeah.
don't forget to drink your water. Yes.
Drink
Thank
your
you for
water.
everything,
Tara.
ladies. It
You're
was
Thank you so
welcome.
beautiful.
much.
You're
Beautiful.
welcome. Bye. See you tomorrow.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you, Kim.
I had a question.